Jai Gurudev and welcome to the another week's summary, 2nd of March till 9th of March. In this, if you observe closely, in this sage Vasistha has explained a lot more and in-depth knowledge about how the individual consciousness known as Jiva or the individual soul has come into the existence and what are the characteristics of it which makes it different from the supreme consciousness. Most of this discussion happened this week is all around that particular topic, so we will just go ahead and we will see page by page. 2nd of March, page number 62. So Lord Rama asked, explain me the mystery of time. He wants to know the mystery of time. How does sometimes the whole lifespan has been gone, and then Leela said, I just this has just happened in last 8 days, and then sometimes it is in a 1 month. So what is all those things? So Vasistha answers, whatever one thinks within himself in his own intelligence, that alone is experienced by him. For the suffering of a person, a night is an epoch, and the night relatively passes like a moment for a person who is not suffering, and in the dream moment is not different from the epoch. So what he's saying is person who is suffering means person who is stuck with one person who is stuck with one or two mental thoughts. What is suffering? What happens when you suffer? One particular thought keeps repeating in the mind, and when that one particular thought keeps repeating in the mind again and again, and it starts bothering you and you start suffering, then 1 hour looks like 1 year and the whole night looks like an epoch. And at the same time, if you are not suffering, if the thoughts are flowing and if you are established into your nature and thoughts are not bothering you, then the time just passes by. All right, so that is what exactly he is saying here. And then after that, Rama asks, does the delusion of the notion of I and the world arise in the first place? How does it appear? How does the delusion of the world arises? Then he says all the things are equally indwelt into the intelligence. This is the supreme intelligence he's talked about. I think in last episode or before that we discussed that in the seed there is the potentiality of the whole tree. Though you cannot, if you can open the seed and see, but you cannot see that, but it is hidden in the form that when the right amount of natural resources will be given and the right things will happen, the seed will start sprouting, and within some years it will become a huge tree. Now the same way, before any action happens, it is the mind which does the action and the physical action happens after that. And before the thought comes into the mind as an action, it is in the seed form inside you which sprouts into the thought and then sprouts into the physical action. So that's what he's talking about. Everything that is you can see around the world, in this world, was a thought before, and then it was sprouted into the physical existence that you can see, including the elements. The elements also was a thought. In the initial pages, if you remember, he said that the Brahma, the creator, wanted to become a Brahma. The thought came and then he became a Brahma, and then something, the movements that was happening here, wanted to have those movements and become air. There's something that got the heaviness of its evolution. When this happened, those things which were not suitable for becoming the air, where heavy, will obviously fall into the category of earth, and the subtlest form of that existence which was there became space. Then the movement became the air. Then whatever was there which was which happened to form into the by the friction of two elements became fire, because it was creating heat. So all those things, elements also came into the existence one by one. So but before they also come into the existence, it was in the process of the thought. It was in the process of that. It is not right to say it was in the process of thought. It is right to say that it was already there, inbuilt in the infinite consciousness, and then it whenever the right time came and whenever the right surrounding came, it started manifesting itself into the whatever it was supposed to be out of that thing. So tomorrow, suppose you imagine you are witnessing this everything from the outside, this whole universe, the whole galaxy diminishes, it goes into the black hole, and then everything, the whole creation will start again. And if you witness that, and if you fast forward that, then everything will slowly start happening. But everything is slowly start happening, but everything has to have some of impressions somewhere in the in that consciousness, where it's coming out and it's manifesting when the things are mixing and maxing with each other. Now the infinite consciousness regard its own intelligence in its own heart as it were, and though it is not different from it, and even the wind is not different from its own movement, as that very moment when there is unreal division, there arises in that consciousness the notion of the space. Whatever we discussed just now, all these notions has coming up, and then it is getting manifested into the physical form. So the space is the first one. In that space, the movement happened, that became air. In that movement, because of the movement in the space, the friction, the fire happened. So space, air, fire. Then in that the water ingredient came into the existence, because water, fire and air and space were responsible for the water element, and all those four elements happen to make some solidity form of the existence, and that solidity form started becoming earth element. All right. So even if you see the way we are also created, this physical body is also created, it has got the subtler form, and that subtler form has gone into the movement form of the movement. So what is the subtler form? That is the consciousness, that is the energy inside us. Not the energy also, the consciousness is different than the energy still have the movement, the consciousness do not have the movement. You are sitting there and you are listening to me. Now if you just become aware of you are sitting and you are there in that sitting position, then you will start becoming aware of your own purest form. You just imagine yourself, close your eyes, and you just keep thinking, I am here, I am sitting. Forget about all the other aspects of that. You are just there, you are there, you are listening to me, but who is that inside, who is listening through the ears and who is listening through the mind? If you just start becoming focus on that, then the consciousness aspect of you is the purest form. Then the movement happen in the consciousness in the form of energy and in the form of thought is your air element, air kind of thing. And the physical body is our physical element, and in that the fire is there, mind also has got the fire, physical body also has got a fire, and the whole body is a form of the earth element, So that's how all those things you can see actually every day inside you and around you, in everything that has been created. It will have some subtle form, some form where the movement is happening, not subtle and not gross, but in between, and then there's some gross form out of that. The same infinite consciousness held itself the notion of unit of a time equal to 1/1,000,000th of the twinkling of an eye. Means twinkling of an eye is like a half a second or less than that. Your eye just blink. Now out of if you do 1/1,000,000th of that also is there. That unit is also there in that. If you want to count that, or if you want to see that, you can go that slow also, and from that evolve the time scale right up to the epoch, consisting of several revolutions of the 4 ages, which is the lifespan of the cosmic creation. So 1/1,000,000th of a twinkling of an eye to the whole creation, that much of the time span is given there. Now how you measure that is our physical time. Are you understanding that? How you measure that, the distance between the two objects, or distance between two thoughts, or the space between two thoughts, that is where the physical time comes into the existence. But the physical time, before it comes into the existence, it was in the form of this. It was available in the form of non-physical time in your consciousness, inbuilt in your consciousness like this. That's why if you are not aware of the time also, then also somehow, some time has passed. You don't know the physical time, and you cannot say, oh, I was sitting there for 2 hours, I didn't realize that. But some time has passed, and that some time you can measure in that level of the consciousness. The infinite consciousness alone is the reality, and even ever awake and enlightened. And with creation also it is the same. So creation is also it is the same. That means infinite consciousness is there responsible. I mean, it is not responsible, again it is the wrong way to say that. Infinite consciousness is there, and the whole creation is coming out of the infinite consciousness. So whole creation is a consist in the infinite consciousness, as a part of infinite consciousness, and as the infinite consciousness just manifested into the something different, to the form thing. The infinite consciousness alone is unenlightened appearance of this creation, and even after the creation it is same. When creation is gone, it is the same. So one can say the world appearance is real only as far as it is manifestation of the consciousness, and because of the direct spin. So this world appearance is real, one can say, only because it is come out of the reality, and it is actually it is come out of the reality, and it has taken everything that is needed for this manifestation from the reality. That is why the world appearance is real. Otherwise there is nothing in this world appearance that you can see as a real, because everything is time bound, and everything is changing, and everything is diminishing, everything is going away. The physical form is going away, new physical form is coming up. That's why it is said like that. The creation exist in Brahman as the sprouts exist in the seed, that we talked about. Nothing has ever been created anywhere at any time, and nothing comes to an end either. The absolute Brahman is all, and the supreme peace, unborn, pure consciousness, and permanent. Now, okay, I will read the next paragraph also, and then I will explain. As and when one turns away from the notions of the I and the world, one is liberated. The notion of I am this is the soul bondage here. They who know that the infinite consciousness as a nameless, formless substratum of the universe gain victory over the samsara. So nothing has ever been created anywhere at any time. Brahman alone exists, and then once you walk away from the notion of this me and the world, then you become liberated. Now nothing has ever been created. Who are you and what is your existence? Think about that. What happened exactly when this body came into the existence, and what will happen exactly when the body will go? Have you ever thought about that? Think. The physical aspect of the body which is there, we call it as it is born, and the physical aspect of this existence, aspect of this existence which is come into this world, we say we are born, and the physical aspect of this existence, when it will not move, it will not function, we will call it as a death. Now, is it the physical aspect which is responsible for its movement or non-movement, or it is something inside the physical aspect which is responsible for that? It is something inside the physical aspect. It is not mind, it is not intellect, it is not anything that is moving, and it is anything that is time bound, and anything that is changing. Your mind is changing, your intellect is changing, your ego is changing, everything is changing. Something is deep there which is actually witnessing all those things, and which is helping all those things to function and to get better, to get worse, to improve, to not improve. Everything is happening in it. Not only positive things happening, negative things are also happening, neutral things are also happening. So your body is growing, your body is becoming strong, your body is growing, it's becoming weak, your body is sometimes happy, healthy, sometimes non-healthy. The same way, your mind is sometimes happy, sometimes not happy, sometimes it's neutral. So all these things are happening on one platform inside you, that is the consciousness. Now, because of this consciousness, the mind, intellect, ego, everything is existing, and because of all those things, then the body is existing. Is it clear? So when you are born, are you born as a physical aspect of you, or you are born because that individual consciousness became aware of itself and wanted to experience the world around it and is manifested into the physical form, and that is what we will call it as a birth. So think about it, it's a completely different way of looking at the thing. In first scenario, the whole world and everybody so far has been thinking that the ABC XYZ child is born. That means you see the physical form. Now we are taking the completely different aspect here and going into the consciousness and saying the physical form is not born, it is the consciousness which is come into the existence and become aware of itself and is going to experience the world around it. And when somebody dies, what happened? It is the consciousness which is finished experiencing the world around it, and the body is of no use. That's why the body is dropped, isn't it? The consciousness inside that is not going to get diminished. It's going to be there forever. Like energy changing the form, the same way it was in one form, it was there in that form, and now it's changing, it's getting into the different form. Now the form that we are talking about here is the notion of I and the world. So the moment you will take your attention from that and start establishing into the something that is not changing, then you are liberated. So the first aspect that I read was about the birth and the death, and nothing is created, nothing is born, nothing is dying. It is just the consciousness, it is manifesting into the different forms. Second paragraph that we read, that the notion of I and the world, once you move from that and start establishing and start witnessing that, then you are liberated. So it's like going back to the source, establishing into the consciousness and witnessing everything, including your body, mind, energy, and all the movements happening in that individual consciousness. And individual, again, it is wrong to say individual consciousness, but in that sphere of your existence. And once you start witnessing that, then you will be able to witness everything around you. Everything is just inside here. All you have to be aware of that is just becoming more and more clear about what you can see here, and everything around you is nothing but the similar kind of manifested happen around you. Now, 4th of March, again Rama asks, why do even these sages and men of wisdom exist in this world, as if so ordained by God? And what is God? So there does exist the power of energy of the infinite consciousness, which is in motion all the time. That alone is the reality of inevitable futuristic events, for it penetrates all the epoch in time. It is that power which is nature of every object and in the universe is. It is that power that the nature of every object of the universe is ordained. That power is Chit Shakti and is also known as Mahasatta. Now here he has explained actually how the gods and goddesses has come into the existence and what is the God, So in infinite consciousness has got some power, and now that power, when it starts manifesting, initially it is very powerful, then it become little less powerful, then it become little less powerful, then it become little less powerful, and as it loses its power, it becomes limited. For example, inside you there is the infinite consciousness which has got tremendous power. Now mind has borrowed some power of that, and mind is functioning. The mind has got limited power, so mind has got limitations. Mind can go through some ups and downs and trouble, experience the suffering. Infinite, the consciousness inside you will not experience the suffering. Now from the mind, the body has taken some power and the body is functioning. So my body has got limited functions and limited power. So body cannot do that the mind can do, and mind cannot do that the consciousness can do, and consciousness cannot do that the infinite consciousness can do. Are you getting? Because as it's coming into the different form, it is losing its power. So we are talking about that basic power before the infinite consciousness also come, before the individual consciousness also come into the existence. That absolute, that supreme infinite consciousness that has got these powers. What is these powers? So the first one is Mahasatta, the great existence. Now all this existence in this world, there is something underneath which is existing, which is responsible for this existence, and that something underneath has got the multiplicity, different diversity, amazing infinite possibilities, and that's why the existence has got infinite possibilities. That is Mahasatta. Maha Citi, which is great intelligence. Now everything around you has got some or the other intelligence. Animals has got intelligence, and plants have got intelligence. Nature has got so much of intelligence. Human beings has got intelligence. Everything is governed by some individual intelligence which is so unique on its own and so powerful on its own. The whole planet system has got some intelligence in which it's moving and working. The intelligence are under that which is helping all this physical intelligence that we can see to function will be so much powerful. That is that intelligence we are talking about. Maha Shakti, the great power, of course, all the powers that you can see in this world, the power behind that which is helping these powers to manifest, and we can easily see then how much that power will be great, that's called Maha Shakti. Then Maha Dristi, then of course everything that you perceive. Vision here means perceive. Everything you are perceiving from these senses, you are perceiving this whole world from your five senses. Then there is the sixth sense that you don't need the five senses, physical five senses, but you can still perceive something. That is your way of perceiving. The same way there are animals perceiving, the same way there are plants perceiving, the same way there are viruses, there are bacteria which are unseen things which are perceiving. Then the ocean, then all this creation, everything is perceiving something or the other through the different way, and something behind underneath that which is helping this is called Mahadrishti. Then Mahakriya, the action, also the same thing. Mahabhav, the great becoming. Again, everything is becoming into something, but that is the substratum of that which is helping this becoming to manifest and become into something is the Mahabhav. Mahaspanda, the great vibration. Everything is in the form of energy and everything is vibrating, and everything is existing because of their vibration. There is a communication between these vibration. There is a existence happening because of this vibration. Now what is supporting these vibrations to exist? That great vibration underneath is called Mahaspanda. So all those things. Now Now, the distinction is verbal, even as one speaks of the body and its parts. The infinite consciousness becomes aware of its inherent power, and even as one becomes aware of the limbs of his body. So, infinite consciousness becoming aware of its power. And such awareness is known as Niyati, the power of absolute that determines the nature. So when infinite the consciousness inside you is becoming aware of its own power, and is aware of that, it's called Niyati, the power of the absolute that determines the nature. Whatever the powers you have got, you become aware of that, and that power is determining the nature of you is called Niyati. Right. Now, that you should ask me these questions is ordained by the Niyati. That you are sitting here, you are listening to this also because of the Niyati. I am talking to you. I never had planned 6 months back that we will do something like that. That is because of the Niyati. Everything is happening, even everything is happening around you that you can see is because of the Niyati. Now next sentence is very important. If one remains idle, depending upon Niyati to do everything for him, he soon discovers that his life departs. For life is an action. He can, by entering into the highest consciousness state, stop the breath and attain the liberation. But then, that is indeed the greatest self-effort. So, if you start withdrawing yourself mentally from the agitation that is happening, and your mind is getting caught up into the raga and dvesha, the aversion and the likes and dislikes, And if you accept everything around you, people, situation, things, the way it's happening, and you will not interfere into that happening, then you will start establishing into that highest state of consciousness. And but this is being referred as the greatest self effort. So this is not the laziness. I don't care what is happening, I'm just sitting with myself. This requires a lot of self effort to withdraw yourself and just keep witnessing everything that is happening around you, and to act only when this is necessary and it is required. If you see closely the life of any master, any sage, any guru, this is how it is happening. They are established into that highest supreme consciousness. They are acting and doing everything around them, but they are not attached to that. They are completely detached to that. They are given everything to the niyati. They are given everything into, okay, this is how the world is happening because of all these different powers which are existing in this world, and individual is made up of all these powers as well. And then only when somebody misuses the power and somebody realizes and they want to make the better use of the power, and then they surrender and then they ask for the help, these people, they just help them by giving some advices or giving some way of living the life. That is exactly happening in most of the spiritual organizations, right, good and proper and real spiritual organizations, that the masters has been giving you all the techniques for you to make your life better, and then you are making your life better. Now 5th of March is, Ram is asking, when the only reality is the infinite consciousness and its own inherent kinetic power, how does the Jiva acquire as an apparent reality and in the second less unity? So everything is one, everything is there. Then how come the Jiva came into the existence? So Jiva is like just a little agitation on the surface of the ocean of the Brahman, just a little movement of the flame of a candle in the windless room. So very nicely he's explaining them. Like in the supreme consciousness, when there is a little vibration happen, and that vibration wanted to become aware of itself and was got aware of its own individual existence, because it is come from the supreme consciousness, it thinks that I am the supreme consciousness and I can manifest my own world, and I want to know and get to know more about myself. Then the whole process started, and that's where it's came into the existence, the individual soul or individual Jiva. Just as when the spark from the flame comes into the contact with the flammable substance, it bursts into the flame. Even so, the limited consciousness, when it is fed by the latent tendencies and memories, condensed into the egotism, the I-ness, and that I-ness is not the solid reality, but the Jiva sees it as real. So consciousness, the pure consciousness inside you, which is the agitation form from the infinite consciousness, comes in contact with the memory, it forms the ego. That I-ness, yes, I am existing. Why I am existing? Because it knows that it has got the memory and it has been existing for some time. Now, that egotism inside you, that I-ness inside you, gives the rise to the mind. What is mind? Mind is nothing but the thoughts. The energy starts flowing inside it. The energy wants to perceive the world. Energy wants to know the world. Energy wants to understand the world. Then the mind comes in. Mind is nothing but the flow of the thoughts. And the thought starts happening. Memory, thoughts, ego, all those things is happening. And the I-ness is already there in the form of ego. Now this I-ness plus the mind, when it comes in the contact with the 5 elements around it, it forms into the physical structure that we call it as a body. That is called the body. The intelligence which entertains the notions, conjures up the natural elements. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Creation of the mind is but the agitation in the consciousness, and the world exists in the mind. It seems to exist because of the imperfect vision and imperfect understanding. Yeah, I mean, inside you, this whole world is existing. This can be exactly understood. Right now, you're understanding, or you're making an effort to understand the Brahman, the universal consciousness, through your mind. Because your mind has got that limited power, from that it thinks that it can understand the infinite consciousness. That effort is happening, but that is the imperfect vision, that is the imperfect understanding, because mind is limited. If we have got 7, 8, 9, 10 people here and they are listening to the same, they are reading the same book, everybody's understanding will be different, because everybody is individual, and everybody is individual, imperfect, misunderstood. Mind is trying to understand something which is perfect and something which is beyond, something from which everything has come into existence, and that is what is called Maya. That is what is called illusion. And if this is understood, if you understand this, that how limited is your mind, and how come mind will not understand, because mind is where the infinite consciousness is not, and infinite consciousness is where mind is not. So when one of these exists at a time, both of them will not be able to exist at a time. The moment you will understood, then the duality will come to an end. There is two, me and my mind. If you see from the infinite consciousness point of view, the awareness point of view, I'm just the awareness, and oh, there exists a mind. But the moment you come into the mind, you start talking, you lost it. However, you see from the other side, where you are right now, maybe where most of us are right now, mind is there, and mind is trying to understand infinite consciousness. It will not unless it will dissolve into that. The individuality has to get dissolved completely. Once it's dissolved, it is called the non-dual infinite consciousness. That's where the Advaita existence starts, the pure existence. That is what is the pure existence. The Jiva is nothing more than the limitations in the consciousness that we talked about. When the mind perceives duality, there is both duality and the counterpart of that, unity. When the mind drops perception of the duality, there is neither duality nor in unity. When one is firmly established into oneness of the infinite consciousness, whether it is quiet and actively engaged in work, where he is quiet or actively engaged in a work, then he is considered to be at peace. That's what exactly the most of the sages and most of the wise people who are established into this being is doing. They are just doing whatever is required in this world. Deep inside, they are very quiet and they are not affected by all these things. On account of the various causes, there is a movement of thought. Someone is freed from this in one lifetime, someone is free from it in someone takes thousands of births. The moment of thought, one does not see the truth, and then there is a feeling of I am, and this is mine. When the mind is moving because of that ego behind it, and because of that I-ness behind it. And when this movement happens, one starts saying, oh, I am thinking. Then because you say I am thinking, and your thought is saying, okay, let's get up and do something, then you say I am doing, then I'm creating, then I'm the one, and then the egotism starts becoming stronger and stronger. The world appearance is a waking state of the consciousness. Egotism is a dreaming state, and the mind stuff is a deep sleep. And the pure consciousness is the fourth state. Beyond even the fourth state is there absolute purity of the consciousness, and one has to establish. One who is established in it goes beyond sorrow. So like we said, deep sleep, then there is an individual consciousness when you start waking up. Then there is a mind, and then there is a body. Now, egotism is a dreaming state. The world appearance is a physical form. World appearance means you are existing in the world. It's a physical form, waking state. Now, egotism is a dreaming state. Egotism is a dreaming state, because in ego you think, oh, I am separate, I can do everything, I am the one who can make, you can change something. So that is your dreaming state. Mind stuff is your deep sleep, because mind stuff is everything is illusion. You are in a deep sleep state, because it's like a gross state. It's a very gross state, which has got no awareness in it. That's why it's called a deep sleep state. And the pure consciousness is the fourth state. And once you move away from everything and establish into that purity inside you, I am, you are there existing right now, then you are into that pure consciousness. But The moment you will drop the pure consciousness also, because that pure consciousness inside you, once you establish into that I am, this is very important, okay? Please remember this, please listen to this. All the meditation practices that you are doing, basically the highest form of that is your consciousness start establishing into itself, right? You are establishing into yourself and becoming one with yourself, right? Most of you might have experienced this. You take the mantra, you do your breathing, you do whatever it is, whatever the action you are doing. After that, you just sink into that consciousness and you just become one with that. However, notice that next time when you are into that state, that will still give you the limitation around this body, or little bit around this body, you will not be exactly aware of this body, but you will be still existing as a separate entity from the absolute. Now if you let go of that as well, what will happen? And you cannot let go of that because it's very difficult. You have to just be more and more aware of that, and then it will drop on its own. That is what is called the highest knowledge will be gained by the Guru's grace. So that's where your effort will not become in time. And the Guru's grace, I mean, is not the physical Guru grace sending you his grace and all that. He can also send it, or she can also send it. But your self effort has done and you are established into itself. And then all of a sudden, the absolute, the infinite consciousness itself is a Sadguru, itself is a Guru, which is actually giving its grace and giving you that glimpse of itself. That is how slowly you get established into that. Because once you go into that stage, once we go into the last stage, you don't remember anything, you don't have any idea about all those things. Only the seekers of the true knowledge can go there. If you are seeking something else in your life, you will not be able to go there. You will get limited to the level of the consciousness, because the more and more your consciousness will become pure, the more and more you will start getting the powers. And once you start getting the powers, and once you start using those powers, people get lost into that. They don't realize these powers are also existing into something, they are coming out of something. So only the people who are actually seeking the ultimate truth will cross that thing and will go to the next one. So this is a question for you. What are you seeking? How much you are ready to give it for the truth? And you give your entire existence that you think you are, or with this existence you want some power so that you can do some miracles, you can do some good things around you, and you can make the people impress, you can help them to come out of their healings and sufferings and heal them, and you can live the life like that. Or you don't want that also, because everything is happening. You are not born, I am not born, then also the world is happening. Then what is the use of these powers? And if these powers are there, then from which these powers have come, it will be there also whenever it's needed. So think about it. What are you seeking, and how much you are ready to give up for whatever you are seeking? Now, then he is talking about, Rama is asking how the creation becomes so extensive. He said the vibration of the infinite consciousness is not different from the consciousness itself, because it's the infinite consciousness. It has got so many possibilities. That's why the world has got so many possibilities, And the cosmic Jiva utters Om, and by pure will creates the various objects. The cosmic Jiva utters Om. Then again, understand that the Om is the vibration. Om is the symbol in which the energy flows from within oneself. Om. We learn that So when that energy starts playing, when utters Om means when the energy starts flowing into the Jiva, then the various objects comes into the existence. Just the creator Brahma was willed into being, even so is the worm brought into the being. Everything is created by that energy. When the energy moves into the consciousness, all those things happen. 8th of March. Now he started telling another story now, the story of Karkaki. She is there, and then she wants to eat the whole world because she is very hungry. And then she thinks, let me engage into the penance, and through the penance I will attain. Now that's what the question. Why is this contradiction? Previously we talked about the penance is not required for you to understand the liberation, and then here in this story the lady is saying, that she wants to do the penance to attain something. So think about this, ask this question on the WhatsApp group and see what you come out of that. It's very clear and very easy to understand, but I just want you to show me your insights, share your insights. And then she becomes like with the boon of the Brahma, and Brahma says, okay, fine, I can say whatever you ask for. And she becomes very small, so small that she becomes Suchika, like a very small, and that is what is actually is called virus. She becomes the virus, because virus is something that can eat everything when it comes in contact with anything. So that's why it's been given the boon as, okay, you become that, And then she starts living, and she starts hiding. She goes into the numerous places, and then she is into the people's bodies, and she's into the flies, and she's just given, like, how it is actually very interesting to understand that even the virus is also been created by the Supreme Consciousness. So it is also equally important for the Supreme Consciousness, like your existence. So it's amazing, isn't it? Like, something that according to you or according to us is not required and not necessary is also the part of this creation. Opposite values coexist. And then after living for a long time like that, she thinks that, oh my goodness, what is this silly thing I'm doing? The mind is heading towards the calamity because I'm just created delusion and wickedness, and it's not required. And once she realizes that, oh, I was having a desire, then to fulfill my desire, I actually did the penance. And after doing the penance, I realized, I went through that period, and then I realized this is not required. I've been so silly and I've been so foolish. Then she actually abandons all the wishes, and then she stands on one foot and began her penance. Again, standing on the one feet and doing the penance and all that, you don't need to do that. It is required that, she's actually just putting herself, giving her whatever is she needs, the ultimate, she's giving that as the highest importance. And when you're giving something as the highest importance, you can easily go through all these physical and mental not so good things. Like suppose right now you want to give the highest importance you have to go from one city to another city. So if you have to go from one city to another city and reaching that another city is your highest priority, then you get up in the morning and the shower is not giving the hot water, or your door lock is hit, your one of the chairs leg is little bit broken, or something in your house which is very significant is happening. You will not worry about that because your priority is to reach somewhere. You're going there, something happens on the road, you will not worry about that. You will bypass that, you will keep going to the airport. You reach to the airport, something happens there, you will again bypass that and you go and get into the airplane. So all the small events happens around you, you will ignore them, you will come across that, and then you will achieve the highest. The same way, when your aim is highest, her Karkati's aim is no highest. That's why she's standing on one leg. Standing on one leg is not a big thing for her because she can easily do that to achieve something. That's symbolic thing. And then the Indra, the king of heaven, learned from the sage Narada of Karkati's unprecedented undertaking, and then he asked Vayu to come and see him. And that's where the 10th of March starts. So we have finished till here. Have fun, enjoy, keep reading, keep questioning yourself, and Keep challenging your own beliefs and keep asking questions and keep listening to this again and again if it is making sense. And then you will, the most important thing is whatever we are discussing, think how practically you can implement that. Like, if you have got an existence as a individual consciousness which is just come out of the supreme consciousness, then think how you can do that, how you can realize that state of deep sleep inside you but being conscious about it. Think about that and keep working on that. All right, till the time, take care. Jai Gurudev.